Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to an old friend and a hugely talented star, Jonathan Ansell. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Alex. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, listen, it's good to talk to you. So there we were 10 years ago with the boys of G4. We did your first network interview for the BBC, and 10 years later, you're back. That's got to be a success story, hasn't it?
It is, and we're marking that by chatting to you again. So it's full circle. It's fun. No, it's it's unexpected, but it's an exciting new twist for us to be reuniting for this special tour.
I've always thought it was interesting being you because you were the standout star of G4. Was that ever awkward? Because you were the one we remembered. You are the frontman and frankly have the most incredibly distinctive and wonderful voice. Was that ever a problem for you or the band?
No, it was great because we never kind of focused on any of those things that I think the judges initially started to push towards within our time on the X Factor. I think it's important to have a focal point in a group, and I think that became me. But the great thing about G4 is that we all brought amazing different things to the table. I'm unfortunately unable to play any useful instruments, so we've got Mike great on the piano and Ben with perfect pitch that brought amazing kind of musical elements, which was a big part of what we are and now what we're recreating. And it was never kind of a big thing. It was frustrating at times when you maybe have arranged it in one way and then somebody goes, no, John needs to take that line as well, and it's just annoying for 10 seconds and you go, okay, cool, that's what we're going to do with that song. But you learn quick and realise that it's fine. I guess it was great for me to have become the kind of face of G4, I guess, because it enabled me to then kind of branch into more of a commercial solo career in the way that I wanted to do. So I guess I was very lucky in having that position.
How is your face? Has it weathered well over the last 10 years?
I use a little bit more makeup now on stage to hide a few of the wrinkles. It is slightly frightening when you look in the mirror and think, gosh, 10 years ago I looked very different. When we were first on the X Factor, I look about 12. So I think I look more my age now. And I'm still perfectly naturally blonde, of course. The hairstylists never get involved with any bleach to enhance that.
Thank God for that. And any Botox? Are we bothering with Botox yet?
No, never. I find that so weird. It just makes people's faces look strange. I remember when Simon Cowell came back, was it this year when he'd had his big eye operation, and at first you just think, he looks so weird and different, and obviously then you become accustomed to it. But I think, natural is better. I'm not going to be messing about with any of that.
No, nor should you. And what a difference 10 years makes. I mean, there you were 10 years ago, a sex symbol for the masses, and now, of course, you've got a baby. Life has changed, hasn't it?
It has. It's two children in and hitting the road again. The wonderful thing is that the audience for us has always been a more mature crowd, may I say, and the great thing about them is that they're traditionally less fickle and have always been there supporting us. So I guess to them maybe I still am the sex symbol, albeit unobtainable with a wife and children, but it's still fun to have that kind of connection potentially with someone on stage. I don't know, poor people having to potentially think like that, but I still love the opportunity to stand on a stage and sing, and if people come and want to enjoy that, then I'm more than welcome, more than happy, should I say, to kind of be part of that experience.
I noticed that I've never seen you falling out of clubs. I've never seen tittle-tattle much in the papers. You keep yourself to yourself. Do you think that's a recipe for long-term happiness? Because if you start getting involved in all the shenanigans with the media, it seems to destroy you quickly, doesn't it?
It can do. You can have a quicker rise and you can have potentially a bigger kind of peak in your career, but you can also absolutely fall off that and it can be massively negative. I think I've been fortunate, albeit falling out of clubs has definitely happened throughout my life. I've managed to not end up with those pictures broadcast all over the place, and it's been a nice, more positive perception of who I am and who we were as a group. I think being more true to your music and focusing more on that than other potentially more negative sides is strong. I've been able to focus a little bit on some of my culinary joys through Ready Steady Cook and Come Dine With Me and things like that, and I've loved exposing those on TV, but I'm not going to be falling out of any clubs and pubs and clubs anytime soon, trying to get a bit of extra PR. I don't think I don't think that's G4's way.
No, it's nice when you're asked. So the Bake Off people asked me to have a go at that last year. They said I was one of the most impressive master bakers they'd ever seen. I turned it down. Jonathan. You don't need that.
Very good. Ba-bum.
You know, what I loved about you when I first met you was the fact that you were all so talented. And I think the problem that the X Factor faces now is they're instantly forgettable. I mean, I couldn't name you 5, probably even 2 people from the last series of X Factor. In your day, it was different. I mean, are you glad that you did it 10 years ago and not now? Because it's hard to cut through, isn't it?
Yes, I am. And that's not just due to the X Factor, it's due to the fact that there's now kind of 3 mainstream reality TV shows, and albeit Britain's Got Talent, giving the opportunity to a variety of acts. It traditionally focuses around singers as well. So The Voice, The X Factor, and Britain's Got Talent dominate our TVs throughout the whole of the year, and that's a lot of people being exposed at a high level, and that's then difficult to stand out. I think it was much more naive when we were on the show as a show itself. The X Factor was kind of learning with us, and that's always a great time to be in a production, but then the other shows all coming along make it harder, and I think it also makes your shelf life shorter. People traditionally are kind of in and out of their careers a lot faster, so being on the X Factor 2004 was a great decision for us.
What for you have been the pinch yourself moments in your career? Because you've done some extraordinary gigs, been on some incredible TV shows, met some amazing people. Have there been particular moments where you thought, I've made it, this is extraordinary?
There's some there. I think performing at Proms in the Park, Hyde Park, Terry Wogan introducing us to the stage, having just stood in the wings with Andrea Bocelli, that's up there. And one interesting moment where I was quite weirded out, and you'll find it amusing, but I was at a big ITV party at the ITV studios. I think it was their 50th anniversary, and I was there in the toilets of all places, urinating next to Jeremy Beadle. And one thing that I found weird about that was that I'd always watched him on the TV and just sort of kind of idolised the kind of man from TV, and all of a sudden I'm there in such a kind of intimate space, and he's going, "Hello, Jonathan," and I'm like, that is just surreal. So those moments you kind of also cherish.
Yeah, and you also don't want to be the star of Beatles about whilst you're both urinating, do you really? Let's be honest.
I wasn't even on. Yeah, exactly. Thankfully the cameras didn't appear and zoom in. It was fun. There's been some unbelievable highlights. Performing at the Albert Hall now probably 10 times or so through various things, to sing in a space like that and have the opportunity to engage with an audience in one of the world's most iconic concert halls. There's definite pinch yourself moments that you will cherish, and fun career to be in.
We did an hour special for the BBC for Christmas one year, and I asked you the question then, how does it feel to stand on stage with the pin focus and hear yourself with that orchestra? Is it still thrilling and astonishing? Because, I mean, you've got such power, but to hear it in a venue like the Royal Albert must be incredible.
100%. It's a huge, huge thrill to even step out onto the stage before you've even sung, and to know that there's an anticipating audience is a huge buzz, be that the Albert Hall, be that whatever venue. I mean, we're opening this tour in a very intimate space in Leeds. I now live in Yorkshire, and the City Varieties is much smaller, but you still walk out to an audience there, and the thrill is just unbelievable. Your anticipation builds, and then as soon as the first note comes out of your mouth and the show is rolling, it's an amazing buzz, and that's what I live for, having the opportunity to do that. It's the best drug in the world, to be able to sing to people and for them to clap at the end and enjoy what you do. That connection with people is kind of, it's hard to describe. It's impossible to describe how amazing that is.
I don't wish to be rude, Jonathan, but could you tell the children if they want to come on the show, they must use their own phone?
Sneaking away from him. I've just fed him. He's 6 months old now, little Dexter, and he's desperate to get into the limelight, so he's there trying to sing for you in the background. But
how much hard work is it on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, I just find it exhausting. I've got godchildren and nephews, and within 2 hours I'm very thankful to hand them back. How do you cope with the tiredness?
I'm very fortunate. Both our children sleep amazingly, and it's I think it's testament to them being happy, relaxed and content. I mean, we've always given them a huge amount of time, but we've also created flexibility in their life. They're not tied to a routine. So both my wife and I, our kind of diaries in life is very variable. So they go along with that, and they thankfully sleep a huge amount of hours, which gives us the ability to recharge at night. And then the beauty of children is traditionally they sleep a bit in the day as well, so you can catch up more.
Yeah.
But I think we've been blessed and very fortunate. I know, and I kind of feel embarrassed sometimes with other parents when they're going through some very difficult things with children and as they grow. So maybe if you saw ours, you wouldn't be as negative about some children, because they can vary, but we got a good pair.
Indeed. And married life, I mean, what's it like? Is it thrilling? Is that contentment fulfilling? How do you find it?
Definitely. It's so satisfying. Look, I was on the X Factor 10 years ago as a single man, having an amazing time in London and living a kind of pop star life, I guess, and going to clubs and having a laugh on your own. But there's nothing more satisfying than actually coming back home and having a nice meal with your wife or your family, I guess, when the children are still up, and then watching a movie. There's something much deeper and more meaningful about that I absolutely love. And I've had an amazing kind of mental time in my life, and I'm enjoying the more stable, relaxed and contented side now. It's ultimately fulfilling. It's a wonderful thing, and I would highly recommend it.
When you talk about the showbiz years, I mean, you obviously were around the houses. Did you stop in most of them? I mean, how showbiz was it?
It was showbiz. There's no denying. I had a fabulous time, and I really enjoyed my youth. I was 22. I'd come out of uni, and I always described myself as a glorified student. I was living exactly the same lifestyle as a student, albeit I could get into clubs a lot easier and get into the VIP rooms, and the girls got more attractive. So I guess I kind of enjoyed that time and have some fun memories from it. But as I say, that's a very shallow side of life, and it's fun to enjoy for a period of time. But I wouldn't want to ever do that for forever. It's kind of fun memories, but it's not. I find it sad when you see some people that kind of are still doing that in their 60s and think that that's life. I think it's part of growing up for me.
Yeah, it's a bit depressing, isn't it? And as for your career, I mean, you've been consistently in work. Was there ever that reality of waking up in the morning wondering where your next meal's going to come from and whether you'd work again? I don't know whether you've been through that, but so many reality stars have, where it becomes terrifying. You have the huge fame, you have the huge success, and then it sort of quietens down as it does with everyone. Did you ever have that, or have you almost consistently been in work?
That paranoia, but I have. I've focused a few years of my career into musical theatre, and one thing that's very difficult about that world is that you traditionally have to keep huge gaps in your diary available for the role. So if the casting directors do actually offer you the position, you're actually available to kind of do all of the tour dates or the dates in the West End or whatever it may be. So I found it very difficult for a few years because I didn't know what life had in store. I was incredibly fortunate, and I've always subsequently had amazing opportunities, and my diary's always kept me busy enough. And I've always said I've never had a proper job since I was 20. I've always sung as a living, so I've thankfully always had that. But I've definitely had the highs and the lows, and I've had Christmases where I've just been there with the family and gone, I literally don't know what I'm doing next year. I might have a gig, and the rest of the year could be anything. And I've been very fortunate that great opportunities and shows have always come my way, and hopefully that will always continue. I guess I'm lucky being a more traditional genre and the classical crossover, and incorporating as I do now more and more variety and keeping up to date with new songs and putting a twist on that. Hopefully that's a genre that will continue as I grow. I'm not trying to still be kind of Britney Spears singing the little pop songs when I'm 32. I'm actually progressing, I think, into a a maturer voice, which I think suits the style of a lot of the music I do. So hopefully that's always going to continue.
I don't know about you, but I look in the papers sometimes at these stars that have huge fame for no talent, and it terrifies me because I just wonder where you go with that. I mean, you'll always be able to sing, whether it's in a working men's club or at the London Palladium.
Well, I hope so. That's always the scary thing about singing, is that it's inside you. If I was an amazing trumpet player, you could always buy a new trumpet if you broke it. But voice is it's somewhat delicate, but I always do hope that that will be there, and it's always hopefully going to keep getting better. And as you say, whatever the venue, if there's an audience that wants to come and listen to me, or a venue that wants to book me for people to come here, then I'm always looking forward to opportunities. And I love the variety of venues. I love singing in small spaces, really intimate shows, and I love the grand shows as well. I actually get more nervous about the small shows and actually see people's faces. And that intimacy is wonderful. It's electric. The large shows are also an amazing buzz because you've got the grandeur of the space and the spectacle of the occasion. So yeah, hopefully those opportunities will be there until I decide I don't want to do it anymore, I guess.
Well, you've got a phenomenal talent. I've always said that every time I've met you. You've been nothing but humble, and I wish you all the best with this tour. G4 Reunion for 2015 are back on tour celebrating 10 years in show business, and you start in Leeds. You can find out the full dates by going to the website. Just put in G4 Tour and it comes up there. Who was your mentor, by the way, on X Factor? I forget.
Louis Walsh, yeah, good old Louis. So yeah, we'll have to try and get him along to one of the shows.
Yeah, you should, because I mean, in a way, you've got a lot to thank him for, because the hype around you was extraordinary, and I don't think it'll ever happen again because there's so much sort of clutter with that show. Nobody sticks out as a star, do they?
People can, and people do have the opportunity. I just think, unfortunately, the shelf life tends to be shorter, and it's amazing that we're here talking now about a 10-year reunion, and that I've continued through that. Performing and recording, and there hasn't been that gap. But I think it's a difficult world. It's a highly competitive one, and I still would highly recommend anybody to go for those shows, because the opportunities that can come your way are absolutely unbelievable, and it can totally change your life. But it's remembering that there are opportunities, and you have to work from those and build from those, and hopefully remain true to yourself through that experience. And I think if you can do that, then you can open up so many wonderful doors and have an exciting life in that industry.
I wonder if Simon Cowell will do a reunion tour for his new face in 10 years' time. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
I don't think he could change it back, could he? That's costing far too much to try and change it.
I don't want to leave this interview on a low, Jonathan, but you know I was very offended by you. I've got to be honest. 10 years ago, you came into my studio at Capitol Gold, and, well, I said, could you sing me a nice song? I don't know whether you remember. You sang this.
Alexis Sobeys, he cannot see his knees, his mambo's sticking out. They're rubbing close together, swinging in bad weather. They're now looking bigger than double D's. Alex Belfield, he's getting bigger every day. Alex Belfield, he's too fat, he can't be gay. His portions are so large, he makes Vanessa Fells look quite slim. Alex Belfield, he's got 14 double chin. Alex Belfield, he's at least 20 dins. If God is real, give him smaller meals any day. Alex Belfield.
Some people can just be damn right offensive, Jonathan. There was no need for that. I offered you my studio with grace and kindness, said nice things, and all you could do was damn right insult me. Not nice.
Amazing.
Listen, great to talk to you.
That.
Yeah, you should be. I'm going to come and see you in Birmingham. I look forward to it. G4 are back on tour. You can hear the boys back live doing what they do so brilliantly. You've got a gift, my friend. Jonathan Ansell is the big star of G4.
Put that version in if you come.
Yeah, please do. Yes, I look forward to it. Put in G4 Tour. You'll find out all the tour dates. Jonathan, great to talk to you.
Thank you very much.